Okay, you're on.
Waiting for 6:30?
No,
Okay,
Ron,
well, I got 6:29, okay, so you wanna wait for 6:30 exactly? or
30 more seconds, all right?
Then we will wait the 30 seconds.
Yeah, we shouldn't start early.
No, we shouldn't start early, though, again, all you'll be doing in the 30 seconds here is
But
taking
we will-
attendance and
in
pledge of
30 seconds,
allegiance. But,
The hammer comes down.
okay.
There we go. Call to order. This is the regular meeting of North Branford Planning and Zoning Commission. In attendance, we have
Robert Nowak,
Bob Novak,
Charles
Charles
Urbano.
Urbano,
Ron
and I'm
Sienna.
acting chair, Ron Sienna. Number 2, Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Item 3 on the agenda, minutes for April 7th. Reviewing them, we do not have a quorum to approve them, so we'll table them for this evening. Next, item 4, new business, applicant 2024-4. 847 Forest Road, B2 zoning, Nordford, Town Designated District 2, site plan.
I was hoping that there would be somebody here on behalf of the application. It is strictly for the sign, as you've been noted before. Honestly, the only issue is, as I mentioned just before the start of the meeting, that the proposal as presented is for an 8x3 sign, which would be 24 square feet. If you want to act on the application, you would need to limit it to 16 square feet. If you wanted to simply make that a condition of approval, sorry, 12 square feet, I'm sorry. I have a motion that does that, just says 12 square feet as a modification, and let her figure out what 12 square feet is gonna look like. But I really don't have any further comments on it. It meets the regulations otherwise. It's the right font, it's all one, it's upper or lower case, in this case uppercase. So it meets the regulations for that district, and there's really nothing, fancier than that to talk about it, so. Do you have any questions about it, or?
I'm good. I think, make it in regs, and that sounds good.
Jen, I will give you a copy of this as well.
Email it?
Yep.
Yeah. Since I don't have to type it over.
There you go.
You want me to read through this?
You would do it, Bob?
Verbatim? I can read through it. See. All right, I move to approve planning and zoning application 2022-4, site plan request under section 34A 7.2. Signage within the Northford Town Design District 2 for a new sign to be located at stores and other buildings, structures where goods are sold or services are rendered primarily at 847 Forest Road. Assessors map 62A, lot 38, zone B2. Owner Dominique Del Vecchio. Applicant Sandra Mele, as contained in submitted application documents and shown on the edited photograph submitted with the application. The condition of this approval is that per section 52.5.3B in the B2 district signs attached, 2 buildings cannot exceed 12 square feet in size. The applicant's sign must be reduced in size to meet this requirement.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Okay. that brings us to the draft affordable housing plan. I had sent out materials on this. I know Bob has sent out materials that you have seen as well. Basically, this is a situation where it is pursuant to state statute 830J that each town in Connecticut adopt an affordable housing plan and update it every 5 years. I did not really have much part in the preparation of this document. It was done by the COG out of New Haven, basically. There was some participation by myself and the Economic Development Coordinator toward the end of it. Most of what you see in here is sort of boilerplate in the sense that it's statistics regarding where the town of North Branford is now. It's mostly demographic data and information regarding what percentages of people are spending on their housing. It then goes on, starting at page 49, to give proposed actions for the town to address affordable housing. I know that Bob has given you his suggestions as to how that should read. And again, pretty much that's the meat of the plan here, is what to do about the action items. So I'm not gonna sort of get in the middle of all this, other than to say, these were action items originally sort of formulated by the COG after talking with Roger and myself. How many or how few you would like to do is up to you. But obviously, once this is finished, my job will be to transmit this to the State Department of Housing, and to the COG. And we will also need to put it in the Secretary of State's office, and I will need to publish notice of it in the paper twice between now and June 1st. It has to, by statute, be in effect on June 1st. So I'm going to need some sort of action on it tonight. Again, if you want to go back and amend it, you have as much time as you want to amend it. But by statute, I have to have something in place by June 1st of this year. So with that as a sort of starting point, feel free to talk about what you want to do with the application.
Okay, so how much time do you need to get your part of it done?
Well,
A week?
honestly, I need to make sure it is published in the paper. It has to, I mean, I would allow 10 days for me to be able to do that, honestly. So it could theoretically be kicked to the next meeting, but that's really gonna leave me under the gun for getting it done in time for the June 1st deadline. So absent a special meeting, you're more or less stuck where you are tonight. And I apologize for that, but I was only given this a month ago to give to you. And again, what I would recommend, if you're having sort of qualms about what it says or what it does, is to put something in place and then spend the time after June 1st, or between now and whenever, going through it on a more careful basis and amending it to whatever you think is a satisfactory document you would like it to be. Again, all I need is something in place by June 1st.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can go from there to whatever you want to do as far as a more detailed document.
Yeah, in all honesty, I feel uncomfortable just having 3 of us commit the town, immediately for a major change. So that being the case, I propose, and Bob, I did read with you your proposal, and no offense, I think it's very good, but I think we should have more than the 3 of us decide for the town. I think a quick special meeting with the full committee and maybe the mayor to.
And I will go back and I will see if I can get it published in time. I'll work with Lynn to see what the publication issue is, if I can get it done so that you can wait till your next full meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't need to have a special meeting, because I know that that's not an easy thing to pull off here. And again, particularly if you're trying to pull in the mayor or whoever else you might want to have in here. I may also want to try and get Roger in here as well, because he was sort of instrumental in helping me work with the COG on this thing. But again, June 1st is our hard deadline for
and that's why, is it possible the beginning of next week?
Well, I don't know what's possible. because, again, to find dates that work for everyone else is gonna be, I guess, a challenge. I don't know what the availability of people are. But again, it is now the 5th of May. Your next meeting would be the 19th of May, and May has 31 days. So
Mhm.
it's possible, and particularly if I then put it in the New Haven Register, to get it in faster than 10 days. Usually with this sort of thing, it comes out in the next weekly newspaper, and so the timeline for getting it in the weekly newspaper is longer. Again, if it really has to get published immediately, we can get it in the New Haven Register. It just costs more to do that. So if you really get pressed for time, you probably can wait till the 19th. But really no further than that. And again, I will reach out to everybody and see if we can get a special meeting between now and then.
Right, I prefer having a special meeting before, so we're not right up against a wire on this.
Okay, I will see what I can
I
do.
think a special meeting makes sense.
Okay.
Just get everybody in the room.
Bob, what do you think?
I'm okay with that. Do we need to make a motion or anything like that, or tabling, or what's the procedure?
Well, it's not an actual application, so if you want to just basically table it and ask me to try and put together a special meeting on it, I will do that. Again, absent a special meeting, it will reappear on your agenda on the 19th. And I will
Either
see-
way, we'll be prepared for it on the
Okay,
19th to
sure.
have
Mhm.
something to push forward.
Let me see what I can do. If we can pull together a special meeting, great. Hard to get everyone here for a special meeting, but I will see what dates that people have available, okay? So tomorrow morning, I will send out some sort of poll as to what people's availability is. Obviously, it's not gonna be tomorrow, because I can't get something out for that, but it will have to be next week, okay? And let me see what everyone's availability is. So if you'd like to table this, we will table it, and I will pick it up for next week sometime, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, so that's tabled.
Table.
Okay.
No vote on it?
You don't need to vote on it again, it's not an actual application.
Mhm. So we don't actually have to vote on tabling it?
Well, if you want to indicate just by consensus you're tabling it, that's fine. You
Yeah.
don't need a motion or a second or whatever, because it's not an actual application item that, you know, we need to treat that way, so.
Fair. Good to go.
Okay?
Move
If you
on.
just want to indicate that this matter is tabled to your next meeting, and we should try and put together a special meeting, I will sort of make sure that gets put in the minutes accordingly, and we'll go from there, okay?
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Number 5.
Public hearing, possible action.
So this has been, it's been
Withdrawn.
pulled, it's been withdrawn, so
It doesn't exist anymore.
it doesn't exist. Do we need to wrap that up or vote on anything? on it?
There's
Just
nothing to
close
vote on,
it?
the application's gone.
All right,
It's
it's
gone.
closed.
It doesn't
Okay?
exist.
So,
All right, moving on to the next.
Old business.
All right.
Now, this old business is the propane tanks?
Right, correct.
And we're ordered by the court to approve it, so.
Right.
yeah, I mean, at this point, there's not much to discuss. There's been a lot of back and forth about this.
Mhm.
There really is no wiggle room. I have confirmed with the applicant through my attorney to his attorney through that this is the version of the plan that they would like approved.
Right.
I have asked whether it would be possible to have even sort of marginal conditions of approval around the fringes, and the answer is no, they just want a clean motion to approve. So, given where we are, I think there's nothing much else for the commission to do but move to approve it as is, so.
Okay.
And dating myself, looking at this 2014-15, it seems like yesterday, but it's been a long time.
It has been a long time, and obviously, I guess you're the only member sitting here today who was here for the original application.
I'm the only one.
So, that may be good, it may be bad, but whatever it is, at this point, we are under strict court order to make it happen, and so that's what we have to do this evening, so.
Okay, Charles, can you? read?
Proceed, yep. So, planning and zoning application, 2014-15-6, site development plan, installation of propane bulk storage facility, office building, garage and associated driveways, parking, lighting, utilities, stormwater management, landscaping, and sign, 40 Cerro Road, map 27, lot 39-3, I-2 zone. Owner Donald J. Fucci II, applicant agent, 2772 BPR LLC, attorney Jeff Beatty. pursuant to court order, approval of site plan as shown on a plan or survey entitled Site Plan, Property of Donald J. Fucci II, 40 Cerro Road, North Branford, Connecticut, Waldo and Associates, LLC, scale 1 to 20, dated August 6th, 2014, and revised through March 8th, 2017.
Just to clarify, this is a motion to approve that
Motion to
agenda
approve
item.
it.
So
Second?
you put a motion to approve.
Yeah, approve, so second it?
Second.
Second.
Also,
Can ayes have it?
We did,
I motion, per the court order, I vote yes.
Yes,
Yes.
okay.
the ayes have it.
Welcome to North Branford.
Thank you.
Okay, folks, is that what the?
As long as we've got a quorum.
You
We've
have
got a
quorum,
quorum.
you have
It's
three members,
official.
you have 3 yes votes.
Gentlemen.
You're good to go, okay?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Number 7, other business.
No other business?
No other business.
And at this point, nothing further on your schedule for the May 19th, other than, again, it should come down to it, the affordable housing plan. I am guessing you're not gonna be doing any POCD review at the meetings, this is just 3 of you. So I think you're pretty much in a position of adjourning.
Okay.
I just have one question, Chairman.
What's that?
So, Eric, if moving forward with some of our discussions on this agenda item for POCD review and other components that we've talked about,
Yep.
Northford Center, North Branford, how do we go about, as a commission, make fundamental changes to the texts that, such as the lighting we talked about many, many times? How do we go about?
Well, I mean, the
following?
commission itself can, either through its own work or by directing me, come up with text that they want to be put into the regulations. So if your instruction to me is come back with new lighting regs in 30 days or whatever it is, I will go away and see what I can do to come back with new lighting text. If you yourself have things that you would like to put forward, I would recommend working through me or the town attorney to make sure that it sort of comes through the right pathway. But, you know, ultimately, the commission has the power to create its own application to amend its own regulations. So if there are particular things in the regs that you would like to see amended, through the commission's own application process, it can do that. Okay?
Application process, okay, so we're applying application to ourselves.
Yes, you're
Right.
allowed to apply to yourself, basically.
Noted.
So I would fill out an application, saying, you know, Planning and Zoning Commission as the applicant. I would say amending of section 51 point whatever it is, I'm making up a number, for purpose of, and then it would come in front of you for your review. And like any other regulation, you would need to find it's consistent with the plan of conservation development. It would get referred out to the COG and adjacent towns to see if they have any comments on it. Unlike applications coming from the audience, or from other members of town, you don't have the same statutory deadlines to work on, so you don't need to worry about it's gonna time out if you don't act within a certain amount of time. So you can take as long or as short as you want on it without having to worry about it. Like any other text change, it would require a public hearing. Depending on what exactly you were doing, if you were trying to change a particular place on a map, for instance, you might need to give notice to neighbors. But if you were just doing an abstract text change, you would not need to give notice to specific individual people. And then presumably, if you adopted the text, we would set an effective date, I'd publish it in the newspaper, and then you'd all get updated books with the new text in it.
Okay.
Okay?
How about, on the same vein, we talked about revising or making a movement towards trying to do something for the aesthetics of the same Northford district. In other words, there's, as Trish would say, there's no holistic plan, right? How would we as a commission move forward in trying to develop or request or do something? Would we draft the memo from the commission to
Well-
request? how does that evolve into getting that
Okay,
moving
well,
forward?
And there's several different ways of dealing with it. You have, obviously, a Northford Design District in place already.
Correct.
You could just move to amend the text in that district to do those sorts of things, but it sounds like you want to do something a little different, which is essentially have some sort of planning consultant or somebody work with you on a more planning level to come up with some sort of strategic plan for Northford. The difficulty in doing that is you would probably need to work with the town council for money to do that, because we don't have money in our budget to hire somebody to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess you would direct me to, essentially seek out a proposal for this sort of planning assistance, work with the town council to see if we can allocate money for that sort of planning assistance. And then that person would presumably have meetings with you, either at your regular meeting or in between, to work on some sort of strategic plan. I'm guessing it would involve some sort of community input, whether that would be some sort of meeting up there the community was invited to, or some sort of online poll. At the end of the day, you would get a report, but then your goal would be to take the report and translate that into whatever the action is you think would come out of that. And again, part of that report would be how to take a piece of paper and make it into action. Okay?
Right.
The challenge is a lot of this will take money on the other side as well. For instance, if you want sidewalks, I guess you're gonna need a grant or some sort of money for sidewalks. If you want landscaping, if you want different changes in the town's lighting up there, if you want facade improvements. The town of Clinton created a program for facade improvements along its downtown. The way that was done, property owners kicked in 75%, and the town would kick in the remaining 25%. Well, the town had to find money to do that. They got a grant for it, but if that was the sort of thing that you wanted to contemplate in Northford or anywhere else in town, we would need to set up the system for getting the money and then putting out the program and having people apply for the money. So there's a wide variety of sort of directions you can go in. Sort of sitting here tonight, I don't want to tell you the quote-unquote right direction to go in. That's probably why you would have some sort of planning consultant or somebody work with you on that. I will be honest, my legal background is not really the best one for giving you planning consulting advice. I would probably go out and find somebody who's better at it than I am, which is why you probably need money to do it. So, again, the goal would be some overarching plan for Northford, and then some sort of implementation of going from the plan to putting the facts on the ground. Okay?
Correct.
Hello, good evening. You're late.
Late?
And that application's withdrawn.
I'm always late. See, I learned a long time ago, make other people wait for me.
Well, no one waited for you because the application's withdrawn.
You guys
so
didn't wait. So they withdrew it.
They withdrew it entirely.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so
So I can go home and eat supper.
you can go home and eat supper. There
Sorry,
you go.
guys, you have to stay here.
No, we're almost done, so,
All right.
okay.
Nice seeing you.
Thanks, guys.
Sorry to break up your evening like that.
Let me know what their next idea is.
Well, I was trading emails with the attorney and asked what happens next, and all he said is he'd be back in touch. So that's all I know, is he'll be back in
Okay.
touch. Okay?
All right.
That's all I can tell you.
Yeah, yeah, I
So,
get it. So, all right.
okay?
Take care. So first we need a plan. Well, we need direction to ask for money to develop the plan. Hire somebody to develop the plan holistically. The next step after the plan is in place, then we need designers and everything else to come up with what that is gonna
And
entail.
it may
And how much that's
involve-
gonna cost estimate for that.
Yeah, and,
And then the grant or whatever to actually do some kind of building
I
or
mean,
whatever.
it's not something that's gonna happen in a month or 2 months. It's probably gonna take a year or two to go through the entire process from start to finish, and even getting something to work with and then figuring out how to implement what you have to work with. So,
Correct.
Yeah, it can be done. It will require assistance from the town council there, because it's gonna be more money than I have in my budget. But if this is something that you think is worth doing, then we can go back to the town council and see whether they're supportive of that decision.
So I would just ask this, in 2006, apparently there was a study of the whole area.
I have that stuff.
You do have that study. Would you mind sharing that with the commission?
I will say it seems to have been sort of passed by the events since. I mean,
Sure.
I don't know that anybody in 2022 is seriously considering a bypass road to go around the center of Northford. That was a big hot item in 2006.
Okay.
I don't know.
Overpass.
Huh?
Overpass,
An
he
overpass,
says.
just over the top
Well,
of
honestly, it
Branford.
would go easterly around the buildings that are, you know, there, and then come back out on the north end of there. So I'm not quite sure why everyone thought that was a brilliant idea in
Yeah, I'm
2006.
not sure. I haven't
Okay.
never
But
heard that one before.
I suspect with the hindsight of 16 years, people may not feel that's quite as important now as it was then. But I will see if I can get that report into some sort of electronic form to be able to share with you folks.
Okay.
Okay?
It's,
That'd be good.
it's a start. We've been talking about it for a couple months now, and
Mhm.
I'd rather not let it die in the vine
Okay.
and make some kind of movement forward as a commission
Well,
to
I think-
actually do something.
And again, you guys are meeting again, and it's coming up relatively soon, I guess, in June with the Economic Development Commission, again, sort of jointly to have your sort of quarterly meetings on that. So, you know, there is now a process in place to sort of move on, you know, planning type items, and you can bring this up with them. Because obviously, anything that's going to entail more money, you're probably better off getting a broader input from other people who want to help you with the ask for money here, because asking for money in North Branford is always a challenge, so.
Right.
So if Economic Development wants to go in with you on the ask, that certainly is a helpful thing to have, so.
And how would that ask actually occur? Is it some kind of, is there any formal request to the town council by the commissions to the town council?
Yeah, no, honestly,
I don't know.
what I would probably do is ask for some sort of proposals from planners, consulting planners of this sort, giving me sort of a price range for this sort of thing. I would then have you guys formally make a request to the town council to allocate funds in support of this sort of study. Because again, my usual budget doesn't have that kind of money in it. So if you think this is important, you would need to go to the town council and say, we have received a proposal from X planning consultant, the price tag is $20,000, I'm making this number up. It will take 6 to 8 months, and this is what the proposal looks like. We would ask that the town council assist us by allocating the funds to make this happen. I'm guessing they would have fairly lengthy debate on what this would look like. If they say no, I'm not sure where you go from there, but if they say yes, then we'll sort of figure out from there what would happen next. So that's,
What would you ask of the commission for you to move forward in such a task?
well,
A scope of what
yeah,
the
yeah.
request would,
Yeah, I mean, what I would need from you is, what am I going to ask the planning consultant to do? Because the planning consultant's gonna say, I can't give you a price unless I know what it is I'm doing. So, you know, if I'm going to go to the people in the state that I know to do this sort of thing and say, would you like to help me do this? I'm actually gonna say, great, what are the parameters of what I'm supposed to do here? And that's the sort of thing I'm gonna need you guys to nail down. What exactly the proposal is that I need to solicit from these planners. Just because that's gonna dictate whatever your price is, okay?
okay.
And, you know, it can be as narrow as, we want you to decide what sort of pedestrian and sidewalk plan we need, or it can be as broad as, we want you to come up with a new design for Northford Center, with, this is the borders, and everything in between is up for grabs. So, and again, we can sort of start with, here's the 2006 one, and you can see what that says. Yeah, I'm not sure this would necessarily be quote unquote an update, it's 16 years later, but, you know, with this as a starting point, you know, can you come up with a new Northford Center plan? Okay?
Fair enough, thank you. It was very helpful.
Yeah, a quick question on that. Let's say we have, I hate to use the word meetings, but, you know, if 3 or 4 of us got together and discussed it, would that classify, Robert's rules, would that classify as a meeting? Do
Oh,
we-
absolutely. It would be a subcommittee meeting that would need its own agenda, its own clerk, its own everything. To give notice of it at the town clerk's office, there'd be minutes. So, yeah, you can't do that without it being publicly noticed and following the procedures for meetings of that sort.
So a working session would need minutes and everything?
Yeah, I mean, you don't necessarily have to have Janet or anybody else show up for it, you can take your own minutes. But you would need an agenda posted, you would need, you know, a publicly available place that people, members of the public could come and attend, if they wanted to attend. And you would need minutes afterwards. Yeah, I mean, there's no provision in the Freedom of Information Act for doing this without it being publicly noticed. So,
Noted.
Okay.
okay, I mean, honestly, if this were all members of one party and you wanted to call it a caucus, you could do that and it would be FOIA exempt. But honestly, this sounds like something that is not just one party or the other party. This sounds like something that is a commission action and therefore needs, you know, even as a subcommittee, it needs agenda, public meeting, minutes for each meeting.
Mhm.
Okay?
Very good. What else do you have on your town planner's report?
Not a lot. It's been rapidly changing over the last 24 hours with our big application disappearing. So the big lift for me between now and the next meeting is to see if we can have a special meeting to get the affordable housing plan in place. That's going to be the major excitement. We did have a wetlands site walk at, I think it was 542 Forest Road, which is, I want to call it SPI, I'm trying to name the company, they're CENTCOM. They make firefighting foams and other things there. They are going to be doubling the size of their building there and putting parking in the back. So you should be seeing that at some point as a site plan amendment application. Reasonably exciting. They're a big company and they were going to move out of town, but I know that they got a variance and they rezoned that location to industrial to allow them to do this. They're also pursuing the property next door, which is abandoned, to potentially add that to their site as well.
Where's this location?
This is 542 Forest Road, on the left-hand side going north. Okay, it's a sort of pinkish building, a little bit run down at the moment, but they would be coming in with a new doubling of the size of the building to the north end, and then they would re-facade the entire thing, and they would put a whole bunch of parking in the back of it there. And again, it was a wetlands site walk because the area in the back is near the Farm River. But again, that's, my understanding is that you guys rezoned that location
Yes.
to industrial from residential to allow them to be able to do what they want to do. And because the new building will be close to, or the new piece of the building would be close to Forest Road, they had to go get a front yard setback from the ZBA to allow that to happen. So now that they've got the rezoning and the variance and presumably the wetlands approval at the next meeting, they will be coming to you folks to amend the site plan to do that. Okay?
Sounds good.
That's really about the only zoning thing on the agenda that I'm seeing. That's about it for right now, so nothing else to report.
Okay. That leaves us item 9.
Chairman, a motion to adjourn.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we're done.
We're done.
Record time.
Is this a record?